Some of the uses of emulsifying emulsions are that they are used in chemical industries, used in pharmaceutical industries, and also used in cleansing action of soap. Now, the reverse process of emulsification, that is the demulsification process. This is the separation of oil and water. Now, centrifugation is a method or is an example of demulsification which separates oil from water. Thank you.
Very well explained, Kimaya. Would you please tell me that emulsion is actually made up of how many phases? How many phases are there in the emulsion?
The two phases, this is biophysical emulsion.
Okay. And is there any kind of tension force also between these two phases, that is oil and water?
Yes, sir.
So how do you reduce the tension in case you want to reduce the tension between the two phases, that is oil and water? What will you do in order to avoid the tension?
So we use the emulsifying agents.
You'll use a emulsifying agent, exactly. So the emulsifying agent actually reduces the surface tension between the two phases, that is oil and water, and then a biphasic liquid, that is the emulsion, is formed. Can you please tell me one example of an emulsion that we use in our day-to-day life?
The milk is an emulsion.
Exactly, milk is an emulsion. What about the paint that we used in our house?
Yes, yes, sir.
That is
Oil
also
paint.
a, even the creams that we use on our face, they are also a type of emulsion. So very well presented, Kimaya. A round of applause for her, the way she has presented the things. Everyone, please, a round of applause is required for her.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. The people are improving day by day, and that's very important. That besides knowing academically, you should also be well versed with your communication skills. And that is actually the most important thing. Now, without wasting any moment, I just require the second speaker. The second speaker for today is Simran. Beta, you can please proceed with your topic.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir, for letting me speak. Good morning, sir, respected sir. Good morning, respected sir, and our Vice Principal, ma'am, Pramila, ma'am, and to everyone present here. So today, besides covering any particular topic, I would like to give a touch to our chapter number one, which we have started while starting our classes, was surface chemistry. Now, this would include topics like absorption and adsorption differences and physioption and chemisorption differences. Next, it would include Friendlich equation, different names of solute and solvent, types of solution on the basis of size and solubility of the particles, properties of colloidal solutions, which then include Tyndall effect and electrophoresis, and last topic would be a separation techniques. Now, I'd like to start from the first topic, which is adsorption and absorption. Adsorption is a surface phenomena. For example, ink of the marker remains on the board and does not goes inside the board. Similarly, not similarly, but then we have a different phenomena, which is absorption, which is a bulk phenomena, which takes place for the complete body. For example, water, which is completely imbibed or soaked by the sponge when it is wet. Second topic is physioption and chemisorption. The difference between physioption and chemisorptions are: first, physioption is a reversible process in nature, while chemisorption is irreversible in nature. Second, physioption is non-specific in nature, but chemisorption is specific in nature. Third, physioption has weak bonding, while chemisorption has strong bonding. Fourth, physioption, with increase in temperature, physioption increases. But when the temperature increases, uh, initially chemisorption will also increase. But further, when we increase the temperature, chemisorption starts decreasing. Our third topic for today is Friendlich equation. Friendlich equation is also known as Friendlich isotherm. Now, according to Friendlich equation, the mass of the solute which gets not absorbed, it's absorbed on the surface of solvent is directly proportional to the applied pressure at constant temperature. Now, the representations goes like X, which is mass of solute upon M. Mass of solvent is directly proportional to P, which is applied pressure. Moving on to our fourth topic, we have different names of solute and solvent. For solute, we have dispersed phase, discontinuous medium, and adsorbate. Solute is always present in less amount. This is an important point which we all should remember. Next, we have for solvent, dispersion medium, continuous medium, and adsorbent. Let's move on to our fifth topic, which is types of solution on the basis of size and solubility of solute particles. For true solutions, we have size of solute particles is extremely small, which gets solubilized in the solvent and hence forms a clear solution. Example, pinch of salt dissolved in water. This is for the true solution. Moving on to the colloidal solutions, size of solute particles is neither too small nor too big. Hence, the solute particles are in random zigzag motion, which is commonly known as Brownian motion. Example is dirty water. Now, this Brownian motion, which I have mentioned, is responsible for the solubility and stability of the solutions. Moving on to the suspensions, size of solute particles are big and heavy, due to which they settle down at the bottom of the container. Example, metal salts dissolved in water. Or if we move to if we take a simple example, we can also say when we dissolve our chalk particles in water, the same happens. Moving on to our sixth topic, which is properties of colloidal solution. This is again an important topic.
Simran,
First,
Simran, better you can now conclude with the topic. Actually, I have to also cover up some points regarding IUPAC. So we'll be continuing with you tomorrow. And Kimaya, also you have to prepare one topic for tomorrow's presentation. So every day, two speakers will be presenting themselves. And really, I'm telling you, you people are turning out to be very good speakers. I'm really impressed by the way you people are deliberately taking an initiative to express yourselves. That is actually worth appreciation. So a huge round of applause for Simran also. Very well presented, beta. Now,
Excuse me, Shashikant sir.
ma'am.
Excuse me, Shashikant sir. Good morning, all of you. First of all, hello.
Good
Am I
morning.
audible? Am I
Good morning,
audible?
ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Shashikant sir, I want to suggest two things over here. That first thing is whenever you are preparing any presentation, the children, so you prepare a PPT, a small PPT you can prepare, and you can send that PPT to your subject teacher. The subject teacher can share the screen, and then very well you can explain that topic. Okay, first thing is this. Second thing, whenever a presentation is over, the children will also ask some questions out of it, so that the child who is presenting will be well prepared with the topic. And there is no harm if suppose any question is there and you are unable to answer. If suppose Kimaya has present the presentation, and if suppose Vishakha has asked a question and she's unable to answer, nothing to worry, your sir is there to answer. Okay, but don't feel bad on that part. You all are very intelligent. Or Sashikant sir, you can ask these children, like suppose Kimaya is going to present the this presentation, and like Tushar, Vishakha, and Rakshita, you will be asking the question. So they will be more prepared with this kind of thing. So these are the two, three suggestions from my side. Please incorporate. And the last thing is, thank you, sir. Last thing is, right now 21 children are there. Now I will be taking the attendance from Vinita ma'am. Able to observe that in English class you people are not coming. Your parents will be getting then the message. Because Tushar, I haven't seen Tushar in my class. So,
would just like
I mean,
to share some words with you. Actually, every day, on daily basis, we are selecting two speakers, and
okay,
daily speakers are presenting themselves, and
that's good.
everybody is actually asking questions also. And 1 or 2 days before, for example, Kushi has presented a very nice presentation. PPT presentation was there, and everybody is duly participating. And the very important thing is, respected Pramila ma'am, that these
Yes,
children are taking initiative on their own. I'm not assigning them any duty. They are taking an initiative on their own, and every
that's
day
good.
on regular basis, these speakers are speaking, ma'am.
That's good, sir. That's good. Commendable. So, I mean, just
Thank you
carry
so
forward
much
all
for your
these things.
attention.
Carry
Thank you
on,
so
sir.
much, ma'am.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
I'm presenting the screen to you, children, and
So,
this
Chetan,
is
sir,
being
not
very
here. Let him teach the
presentation
this topic
slide.
है ना. चेतन सर फोन पे बात करेंगे अपन. हाँ, no problem. Recording नहीं होने दो. Okay.
So, children, I'll be presenting one video to you regarding the IUPAC, and very soon the screen will be visible to you. I hope my voice is audible to all of you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and I hope now the screen is also visible. In earlier days, many organic compounds were known and are used without any knowledge of their structure. They were called with the different names based on their properties, origin, or by the names of their discoverers. The names so used to call them are referred to as common names or the trivial names. Trivial system is a vernacular name or a non-systematic name of organic compound. There are no particular set of rules for the trivial name of the compound. There are many drawbacks of common name or trivial name. Many trivial names are present for a single compound. For example, phenol has different names. Now, children, as you can see that these are some of the drawbacks of a trivial name system, and that's why we have opted for a IUPAC system. So, anybody among the listeners who can just tell me what is the full form of IUPAC?
Yes, sir. May I?
Any child who
Sir?
can tell me?
Yes, sir. May I?
Yeah.
Sir, yes, sir. Sir, it's international. Yes, sir. I'm speaking that
Exactly.
International
Very well told.
Union of
Now,
Pure and
many
Applied.
different compounds are having different names. Now, in order to adopt a unanimous system so that all the compounds should have a common name that is worldwide accepted, there was a utility of the IUPAC system. Now, I'll just give you an example for that, a very simple example. For example, you want to go to purchase onions. You will go to the shopkeeper, to the vegetable seller, and you will say that भैया please 1 kilo प्याज दे दो या 2 kilo प्याज दे दो. Okay, and probably you will not talk in English even, because that person is not that literate that he can understand that what is onion, probably. Okay, but when you will talk to a person who is a graduate in science, definitely he can understand one more name of onion, and that is allium naming. That's why useful, because wherever you go in the world, if you use a scientific name, he'll come to know that what actually you are talking about. Now, common names or trivial names, because they are misleading, and a single compound can have many names, we have now switched on to IUPAC. Like hydroxybenzene, carbolic acid, and phenol. Same compounds have a different name in different countries, and it was difficult to remember the names
revealed the need of systemic nomenclature which could assign a logical name to each organic compounds based on molecular structures. Therefore, a proper method was introduced in order to name the organic compounds. This uniform system for naming the compounds is called as IUPAC system, which is the International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry. The IUPAC system of nomenclature provides certain rules and conventions for naming the organic compounds. Rule number 1. Longest chain rule. Identify the longest carbon-carbon chain and name branch alkane as derivative of the parent alkane containing this chain.
Now children, a systematic order has to be followed, because after the presentation I'll be presenting some MCQs to you, and I'll really appreciate if you people answer. Now as you can see, the first rule over here is that you have to select the longest chain. The second rule is that the minimum number has to be given to the substituent. So we will not play with the order, we will follow the first rule, that is we will select the longest chain and you will keep the longest chain in the box. And as you all know, suppose if the longest carbon chain is of 7 carbon, what name will you give? If the longest carbon chain is of 7 carbon, suppose.
Sir, it's heptane.
Anybody?
Heptane, sir.
What name will you give in case the longest carbon chain is of 7 carbon?
Hept.
Yes, give them as hep. And depending upon double bond or triple bond, you will use heptene or heptine. So the first rule is that you have to select the longest chain.
Following example shows the red part in the carbon-carbon chain shows the longest carbon-carbon chain. Rule number 2. Numbering of the carbon atoms. In the chain, numbering starts from the end, which gives the lowest number to the carbon atoms carrying the substituents. In the following example, CH3 is a substituent which is attached to the left side of the carbon-carbon chain.
Now children, you can see that a methyl group is attached, and after selecting the longest chain, as you can predict from the structure that is visible to you, it is of 6 carbon. So the longest chain is of 6 carbon, and on the second position I can see a substituent. Which is this substituent? Anybody of the audience can tell me which is this substituent?
Methyl.
Yes, exactly. This is a methyl group, and this is present on the which position? I'll start from the left hand side or from the right hand side. Shall I start from the right hand side?
So from the left
No,
hand
sir.
side.
Left hand side.
Yes. So methyl will get which number?
2.
It will get second number, 2 number.
Hence, the numbering should be start from the left side. So, number 1 carbon atom will be from the left side, and second carbon atom CH3 will be attached. Hence, the compound, the numbering should be given in such a way that if there are more than 2 substituents, the carbon with substituent must be given lower number. You can see in the given example there are 3 methyl groups attached. So if you can start the numbering from right side, the number will be 257. And if you start the numbering from the left side, the number will be 247. As 247,
Now this is very important, children. That particular example that you were seeing right now, I'll just go to that slide.
from the left side. That if there are more than 2 substituents, the carbon with substituent, for example, there are 3 methyl groups attached. So if you can start the numbering from,
Yes, as you can see that I have got now 2 options, that if I start from the left hand side, I have got 1 methyl group on the second position, then on the 5th position, and then later on I am having some more methyl groups. So I have to see to it that from which particular number I am getting the minimum number. So you have to follow the minimum number rule. You will add all of them and you will follow the minimum
right
number
side,
rule.
the number will be 257. And if you start the numbering from the left side, the number will be 247. As 247 is the lower number, so the name of the compound will be 247 trimethyl octane.
I hope this is the number rule and might be clear to all of you. Once again, I am repeating that in case you are having the same type of substituents, then you will count the total number, that what is the totaling that you are getting, and you will select that chain, you will select that number which is having the minimum number. For example, here we are having two options. It was 2 comma 4 comma 7, and in the second option we were having 2 comma 5 comma 7. So the more correct one was 2 comma 4 comma 7 trimethyl, and the longest chain is of 8 carbon, so it is octane.
If more than one substituent is present, then the substituents are arranged in alphabetical order.
Okay,
Of
now
their
I'll
names.
pause the slide over here, and now I just want to show you some MCQs based on this, and I want a very interactive session so that all of you should participate in this. And everybody will give me the answer. Everybody should participate and should give me the answer. Yes, children, are some questions visible to you
Yes,
on your screen?
yes, sir.
Okay, so let us start with the first question. See, now these are some of the options which might be similar and might be misleading, but you have to select the most correct option. So what makes carbon such a unique element? You can just go through the options.
Sure, D.
So I have registered one answer, one response, and that is D. To a greater extent than any other element, carbon can bond to itself to form straight chains, branch chains, and rings. How many of you agree with this answer?
Sir,
D.
Sir, D.
Okay. So I hope D is the most correct answer.
yes, sir.
Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
That's
sir.
great. That's great. Moving on to the second one. A molecule with molecular formula C3H8 is
Sir, it's propane.
B. B.
Propane.
Propane.
okay. Is this correct? Propane. Yes, because you can see the number of carbon over here is C3, and according to the formula CnH2n plus 2 rule, it is C3H8. So 100% correct, that is propane. Now, this one, select the correct IUPAC name for this particular compound. I would request all of you, instead of seeing it from the screen, just draw the structure quickly in your notebooks. Quickly draw the structure in your notebooks, and don't be in a haste to give me the answer. Just take your time. Just take your time and then respond. Don't be in a haste to give me the answers. Quickly draw the structures. So these are the options
Sir?
open to you now. Yes, children, which is the correct answer?
Yes, sir. Sir, it will be C.
C option, 4-ethyl, 4-methyl octane. How many of you agree with us?
Sir, option E.
4-methyl octane.
Sir, C.
Is this answer correct?
Yes, sir.
That's correct. Quickly draw this one now. The correct IUPAC name for this particular structure. I would again request instead of looking from the screen, just draw the structure in your notebook and then please respond it back to me. This is in accordance with the number rule that we have just studied.
Sir, C.
Sir, C.
2,4-dimethylhexane. That is the C option. Any other option do you think may be more correct? So that is correct. It is 2,4-dimethylhexane is the correct one. What about this one now? Any child, I'll not show you the options. What do we call this particular ring, which you can see in between? How many carbons are there in this particular ring?
5.
5 carbons.
So 5.
Can you see any double bond? Anything over here?
No.
No.
No,
So
sir.
what is the name of only this ring? I'm asking. Only this ring.
The cyclopentane.
Cyclopentene.
That's correct. That's correct. It is cyclopentane. And now these are the options that are open to you.
Sir,
I'll give you
it
a hint
is
over
B
here.
option.
I'll give you a hint over here. You have to use the number rule. You have to use the number rule.
No.
Now tell me the
Sir,
correct
it's
answer.
B.
Sir, C.
Sir, C.
A or B? Yes, A or B?
So B.
Sir, A.
Yes, because on the B option, you can see that the number rule is being followed. 1,3 dimethyl cyclopentane. So clockwise and then only this numbering is possible. If I go anti-clockwise, then the name would be wrong. That is 1,4 dimethyl cyclopentane is a wrong name. So the correct one is, I again repeat, 1,3 dimethyl cyclopentane. I hope that is clear to all.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Moving on to this one now. This has a double bond. Let it be the last one for today. This has a double bond.
Sir, B.
Sir,
Sir,
option
it's
B.
2-ethyl.
2-ethyl.
Two
No, beta,
ethyl, one.
ethyl is not the correct one.
Ethyl.
Tell me the
B1.
option number A, B, C, D, E. Which one?
B1.
Which one, beta?
Sir, B. Sir, option B.
B1.
Option 1, A is correct. That's correct. You will start the numbering from here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And on the second position, you can see the methyl group is there. Is that clear? So that was a nice exercise for all of you today and very well presented. Also, everyone participated in this. Really happy to see you presenting this way. And now, deliberately on your own, who will be the speakers for tomorrow? Yes.
So can I?
So one, just reveal your name, beta.
So can I? Sir, Khushi.
Okay, one is Khushi. Another one, all my champions should participate. Second one,
Sir, Rani.
only one champion there. Princey.
Sir, Rani.
Rani, well done, well done. Really proud of you students actually. You know, taking initiative is the biggest thing and you people take an initiative. Half battle is won. Remaining half, जीत लेंगे, tension नहीं है. ठीक है? God bless you all. You can leave now. Take care.
Thank you, sir.